Chris Walker. In Outlast, he's a 7-foot-tall, meaty guy who lovingly refers to you as Little Pig, right before yeeting you through a wall. Ironic nickname since he's the one snorting, grunting, and charging around like a warthog with asthma. He's built like a fridge, never skipped a bulk phase, and moves like he just found out you double-parked in his spot. Once, he was a former military cop, but now, he's a professional door remover and part-time philosopher yelling about purging the inhuman, which is funny considering he's the one walking around half-naked covered in blood and wearing someone else's internal organs like they're fashion accessories. Chris doesn't do conversation. He patrols the halls of Mount Massive Asylum and slaps anything with a pulse back into the Stone Age. You hide in a locker? He sniffs you out like a bloodhound who just discovered anxiety. You run? He sprints. You think you're safe behind a locked door? He doesn't knock, he removes the door. There's no talking him down. No clever plan. You hear his heavy footsteps, his wheezing growl, and your survival instinct kicks in just in time to lead you into the worst hiding spot imaginable. Think you can outsmart him? That's cute. You can't. He's faster than you, stronger than you, and the second he locks onto your scent, you're cooked. That furniture you're hiding behind? That's just a minor inconvenience on his way to turning you into a meat slob. Survival chance, 3%. And that's only if you've memorized every vent in the building and accepted that closets are your new home. Teke Teke. She's named after the sound she makes while dragging her torso across the pavement. Teke Teke Teke. Charming, right? She's half a girl, all vengeance, and she's coming for your legs because, well, she doesn't have any. And let's just say, she can't stand seeing other people with theirs. According to the legend, she was a woman who fell onto train tracks and was cut in half. You'd think that would be the end of it. It wasn't. Now she's back, and she's fast. Like, alarmingly fast. Forget zombie shuffles or ghostly drifting. She's elbows down, sprinting, full speed, all upper body. A bit like those zombies from Black Ops 2, but minus the sounds. You don't hear gurgling sounds, you hear teke teke teke, and then you're half the person you used to be. She usually appears late at night. School hallways, empty streets, that one sketchy underpass you pretend isn't haunted. If she corners you, she'll ask a question. If you answer wrong, or take too long, she cuts you in half with her rusty scythe. Don't ask why she has a scythe. That part's non-negotiable. And no, running won't save you. Legends say she can easily outpace a sprinting human, and she's always one step ahead. Which is extra rude, considering she doesn't even have legs. She doesn't want to talk or be reasoned with. She wants you to match, top half only. Survival chance, 5%. And that's only if you answer perfectly and you've got Olympic-level arm speed. Otherwise, well, break a leg. The Intruder. He looks like someone printed a human face on a sheet of wax paper and stuck it to a coat rack, which honestly might be his least terrifying form, because that's not just a creepy dude in a hoodie. That's an alternate. And not just any alternate. It's the Intruder. AKA Stanley, AKA the TV man, and known as the I am inside you guy. You've probably seen the meme, but behind that meme is one of the most sadistic and unstoppable entities in the Mandela Catalogue. He doesn't just haunt. He rewrites reality through TVs, radios, mirrors, GPS screens. The government had to outlaw analog tech and mirrors because of him. And if you think that's an overreaction, this thing kidnapped 3,426 children across 4 counties simultaneously. So yeah, parental controls aren't going to cut it. The Intruder's whole method is psychological warfare. He doesn't break in. He broadcasts, distorts PSAs, hijacks TV channels, and whispers to your kids through static. He'll convince you that you're not real, or worse, that you've already been replaced. Victims spiral into metaphysical awareness disorder, which is basically your brain melts and you off yourself. By the time you hear, I am inside your home, it's already too late. He doesn't knock or chase you. He just waits for you to lose grip on reality and then takes what he wants. Survival chance, 0.1%. And that's only if you live tech-free in a cave and have never touched a mirror in your life. Otherwise, you're already on his list. Siren Head. Siren Head is 40 feet tall, shaped like a starvation victim wrapped in rusted metal. Its head is just 2 sirens, fused to a pole where a neck should be. Yes, they have teeth. No, they're not decorative. The sirens broadcast emergency alerts, static, a song, sometimes even your voice.
My name is Jeff.
It can mimic anything it's ever heard, which makes it good at luring people off hiking trails and into permanent disappearances. Of course, you check out the noise because you like to act like a white person in a horror movie. And now you're gone. It usually stays in rural areas with fewer witnesses and more power lines to hide in. One minute, you're admiring a weirdly tall lamppost. Next minute, that lamppost breaks your skull with a sound wave of a funky song and saves your last words on cassette. You can't outrun it, but maybe you can outdance it, who knows? Sometimes people vanish completely. Sometimes they're found with their faces caved in from the inside. Eardrums, gums, sinuses, all burst like balloons, and no one's ever caught it because you don't see it running around. It can stand still for days, pretending to be part of the landscape, a pole, a tree, a speaker system on the ceiling. Nobody knows what it wants. Some think it's a scout. Others say it's punishment. The only thing anyone agrees on? Everybody is a gangster until the radio tower starts walking. Survival chance? 5%. And that's only if you're mute, earless, and have never heard anything worth remembering. The Demogorgon. The Demogorgon is a predatory creature from the Upside Down, a parallel dimension filled with floating spores, dead things, and terrible lighting. It first appeared in 1983 after a government lab experiment accidentally opened a portal, and like any polite visitor, the Demogorgon immediately started kidnapping locals and dragging them back to its place to die. Physically, it's a 9-foot slab of predator meat that looks like someone skinned a frog. The result is technically humanoid, but only if you count tall meat stick with an aggressive flower for a face as human. It doesn't have eyes or ears or anything else you'd expect on a face, but it's still incredibly good at hunting. It doesn't need eyes. It hunts by smell, sound, and a disturbing sense for blood. It can sense even small amounts across dimensions and will respond by tearing through whatever's between it and the source. Even worse, it's part of the Upside Down's hive mind, meaning if you hurt it, other creatures feel it. Also, it screams, not a roar. A high-pitched, guttural screech that hits you like a sound grenade. If it doesn't burst your eardrums, it'll still ruin your life. Imagine your middle school teacher yelling algebra in your face with a mouthful of warm spit. Now add 200 teeth. Survival chance, 3%. And that's assuming you've got flamethrowers, psychic backup, and a plot armor thicker than Hopper's mustache. Wonder of you or Satoru. Picture this. You walk past a hospital. There's a guy standing there. He looks normal. You blink. Suddenly, your shoelace catches, you trip, land on a nail, and a vending machine falls on your spine. That's Satoru. In JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, Wonder of You is a stand, a supernatural power, who disguises itself as a man named Satoru Akafu. Wonder of You sounds like a 2000s boy band, but is actually a cosmic hitman, disguised as someone you'd ignore in a hospital hallway. When he's disguised, he looks like a mildly overworked internist. Pale skin, dark eye bags, rough haircut, and a lab coat that probably wasn't assigned, just stolen. Looks harmless, right? Until you realize that trying to follow or confront him triggers something called calamity, which is a fun little mechanic where the universe tries to murder you with bad luck. Now, every object in a 3-block radius is a final destination death trap. Ladder falls on your neck, trip on a sidewalk crack, dislocate both ankles, and summon a swarm of wasps. Forgot to subscribe to my channel? Suddenly the intruder's appearing on your feed. You weren't attacked. You just got unalived by causality itself. Wonder if you doesn't break into your house or stalk you at night. He waits for you to take one step toward figuring out what he is. That's all it takes. You pursue him, you die. Survival chance, 0.5%. And that's only if you never ever thinking about setting a step in his direction. Liquor. I bet the ladies are going crazy over this one, huh? This goofy thing starts off as a regular infected human, then mutates again after eating way too much biomass, and suddenly it's crawling on ceilings with no skin, no eyes, and way too much tongue. Its brain is on the outside. Its claws are the size of machetes. Its tongue? Long, barbed, and capable of French kissing you to dead. These things don't see you. They hear you. So if you breathe, step wrong, or sneeze in the next room, you're basically signing up for a free chiropractic session with permanent results. Lickers were originally found slithering around Raccoon City after the T-virus outbreak, mostly hanging out in abandoned police stations, burnt-down hotels, and every hallway you stupidly thought was safe. Later models, like the Licker Beta, were mass-produced as actual bioweapons because someone looked at one of these things and thought, yeah, needs more edge. They got bulkier, dumber, and somehow more terrifying. Some were even trained like pets. Big mistake. There's nothing stealthy about a licker once it starts moving. It doesn't stalk, it doesn't wait. It just drops his freaky ass from the ceiling like a skinned spider and starts turning people into leftovers. You can't outrun it. You definitely can't outfight it. You just sit really, really still and pray it doesn't notice your existence. Survival chance, 6%. And that's if you're silent, scentless, and made of air. Beast Titan. If you've ever wondered what it would look like if a gorilla joined Major League Baseball and thought crowd control meant flattening a 5-block radius, here's your answer. The Beast Titan stands at a towering 17 meters, built like a hairy refrigerator with a suspiciously tiny head. It's also rocking just enough fur to look like it's wearing a hairy crop top and capris, but don't let the goofy fashion fool you. This isn't your average oversized ape. It's one of the 9 titans, meaning it's got power, pedigree, and a mean throwing arm. Under Zeke Yeager, this titan turns siege warfare into a one-man sport. Walls? Flattened? Soldiers? Pulped? Entire fleets? Gone. Courtesy of Zeke lobbing boulders like it's dodgeball, but with catastrophic property damage. And it gets pettier. He once sniped a moving horse mid-air. He's dropped titans from planes. He even used his own comrades' limbs as projectiles. And yes, it talks. Calm, polite, with just enough smugness to make you feel 2 inches tall right before it erases your squad with one casual throw. While other titans scream and flail, this one's practically giving a lecture mid-massacre. There's nothing quite like hearing fascinating right before a van-sized rock turns your commander into paste. And for those thinking, I'd just dodge. Okay, you versus a 60-foot monkey who throws with sniper precision? Text me from the afterlife and let me know how that worked out. Survival chance, 2%. Unless you were a dodgeball champ in middle school and never stopped training for that oddly specific scenario. Nemesis. You're walking down the street minding your own business when someone taps your shoulder and says, "Hey, my homeboy over there thinks you're cute." You turn around, but it's Nemesis, just standing there, screaming stars and holding a rocket launcher like it's a bouquet. That's our boy, Nemi. Basically, if you took a bodybuilder, dipped him in superglue, shoved a rocket launcher in one hand and pure hatred in the other, then told him his only job was to make sure you never know peace again, you've got the general idea. He's not fast. He's faster than you want him to be. 7 feet of stitched-together muscle, wrapped in black leather like a rejected Matrix extra, and somehow even angrier than he looks. Bullets don't stop him. They just make him pause. Like, ow, rude. And then he's sprinting again. Tactics? Doesn't care. He'll run straight through a brick wall just to ask if you've seen Jill Valentine. And his head? Looks like a lollipop that rolled under a radiator and came back wrong. Fuzzy, damp, and aggressive. Think you've outsmarted him? He once got blown up, dropped off a building, lit on fire, and still kept showing up like an email you forgot to unsubscribe from. Unlike my channel, though, which I'm sure you want to subscribe to, right? You don't beat Nemi. You just run, reload, and hope Jill's already dealt with him this week. Survival chance, 2%. Only if you can outsprint a rocket and don't mind being yeeted through 5 walls on your way to safety. SCP-610, also known as the flesh that hates, or depending on who's narrating, the flesh that ate, because honestly, it doesn't just spread, it performs. SCP-610 doesn't spread like normal infections. It erases whatever you used to be and replaces it with something that looks like ground beef. It starts slow, red rashes, peeling skin, a little twitch, and then, suddenly, your entire body decides to play origami with your bones. Flesh folds, stretches, reshapes. Noses become mouths. Eyes get absorbed. You become a creature whose main hobby is making more creatures. This thing isn't airborne. It's worse. You don't even have to touch an infected person. Just being near a contaminated zone is enough. One step into the area and your body is on the waiting list to become a meat puppet. Hazmat suits don't work. Fire slows it down. Nukes? Might as well be throwing soup at it. And the worst part? The infected are aware. They remember things. Sometimes they scream for help while rearranging themselves into furniture. There's no cure. And if you were planning on beating your meat in the containment zone, good luck becoming the meat. You don't run from SCP-610. You just avoid Siberia and pray it stays frozen. Because if it spreads, yeah, Earth becomes one giant meatball. And trust me, there's a lot at stake. Survival chance is 0.01%. But hey, you might get turned into a Skinwall Picasso first. So that's something. Goku Black. You ever wish you could fight Goku? Cool. Now imagine Goku, but smug, psychotic, and dressed like he pays extra to shop in the evil deity section. That's Goku Black. He's not a clone. He's Zamasu, a god, who stole Goku's body and said, "Yeah, this'll do nicely." Then proceeded to use it to wipe out entire civilizations because mortals were getting on his nerves. He talks constantly about justice, about mortals. You're getting flattened while he monologues about divinity and moral decay. Bro never stopped talking for real. And then he levels up. Turns pink, literally. Super Saiyan Rose. Which sounds cute, right? It's not. It's as if a flower punched you through a mountain. And he doesn't just fight dirty, he fights extra. Energy blades out of nowhere, portals, self-duplication, casual city destruction. Then, just when he's starting to lose, he fuses with another version of himself. Because apparently one smug god wasn't enough. But what makes him terrifying? He believes he's right. He thinks wiping out mortals is justice. Imagine someone says, "My utopia is almost complete." And then the camera cuts to a smoking wasteland, full of screaming clouds and dead air. That's the vibe. Survival chance. 1%. If you're a literal god with a backup timeline and a therapist on speed dial. Otherwise, nope. The Predator. Raw. Next question. Imagine if a gym bro and a stealth bomber had a baby. That's the Predator. Not a name, just the job description. He's not here to conquer. He just wants to vibe. And by vibe, I mean hunt the deadliest things in the room and rip out their spines like it's a prize at a claw machine. You don't see him coming. Literally. Cloaking tech makes him shimmer like heat waves on pavement. One second you're hiking, the next your friend's skull's on display like a trophy. It's not personal. It's sport. The Predator's basically an alien with a Fitbit, keeping track of how creative he can be with his kills. Wrist blades, plasma cannons, a shoulder-mounted laser that goes beep beep splat. He brings the whole loadout. He doesn't talk, just growls and clicks like his mouth is trying to solve a Rubik's Cube. If you're unarmed, he might spare you. Might, if he's feeling noble. But the moment you try anything brave, he's already behind you, uncloaked, analyzing your skull shape for shelf appeal. You don't beat the predator, you entertain him. And when the game's over, he doesn't rage quit. He just nukes the map and leaves. Survival chance, 5%. If you're unarmed, covered in mud, and somehow manage to impress him with a vibe check, Apostle Zodd. You're in the middle of a battlefield. Everything's chaos. And then you see him. 7 feet tall, glowing red eyes, armor ripped to pieces like it got bored of protecting him. That's Zodd, Minotaur vampire on steroids. He's been fighting for over 300 years and still shows up like it's day one of gym season. Swords don't scare him. Spears don't stop him. Losing limbs? Minor inconvenience. He's the kind of guy who gets stabbed, grins, and says, "Finally, someone interesting." And if he really likes you, he transforms into a giant horned demon with wings that block out the sun. Not because he has to, because he wants to see if you scream different in beast mode. Zodd doesn't care who you are. Soldier, king, background extra. If you're strong, you're on the menu. He'll rip through your army, your walls, your horse, and still have time to comment on how sloppy your stance is. If you somehow live, he won't be mad. He'll just remember you, not out of respect, just in case he's bored later and wants a rematch. You don't beat Zodd. You survive long enough to be rescheduled. Survival chance 3%, but only if he's in a good mood, you brought snacks, and you're bleeding in a way he finds aesthetically pleasing. The Grudge. If the villain looks like a pale girl in a white dress with 30 inches of tangled ghost hair dragging behind her, yeah, you're not surviving that movie. You walk into a house. Not a creepy house, just a regular house. Maybe it smells a little weird, but hey, who are you to judge? Fast forward 20 minutes later, there's a vengeful spirit crawling through your ceiling tiles with a spinal cord kink and no sense of personal space. That's Ju-on. She doesn't chase you. She just appears. Under the blankets, in the shower, on your ceiling, in your mouth if she's bored enough. The word privacy doesn't exist in her vocabulary. You close your eyes, open the fridge, and I hear you say, "I'll just run." Cute. She's already in your Uber, checking the route. You can't undo the curse. No escape clause. No, I was just visiting. The moment you walked into that house, it was over. She doesn't kill out of rage. She kills because you exist, and she'll keep showing up until your spine folds like a cheap lawn chair. Like, lady, what even are Ju-on? And yeah, Scary Movie 4 made fun of her. Cindy tried to talk her down in fake Japanese Toyota, sushi, teriyaki Honda Civic, and for a split second, it almost worked. Because even the ghost was like, what in the cultural appropriation is this? But unless you're backed by parody logic and plot armor, you're not surviving this one. Survival chance, 0.5%. Only if you're Cindy Campbell or fluent in ghost repellent nonsense and extreme boundary setting. Cartoon cat. You see a shadow in the distance? Tall, cat-shaped. You go pss, 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 and suddenly the hallway's longer, the lights flicker, and reality doesn't feel like it's following the rules anymore. If Felix the cat got fried, possessed, and then fed it cursed VHS tapes from the 1930s, you'd get something close. It's tall, stretched, grotesquely flexible, and vaguely cat-shaped if you squint hard enough. Think vintage cartoon mascot, if the mascot hated you and also wanted to wear your spine like an accessory. Cartoon cat isn't alive. It's a hollow parasitic thing, feeding on fear, violence, chaos, and probably whatever's left of your nervous system. It hides behind nostalgia, acts like a mascot, pretends it's harmless. It isn't. Even other monsters avoid the places it's been. And those places? Usually abandoned malls, tunnels, liminal spaces, places that already feel wrong. He can stretch his limbs around corners, phase through walls, and apparently ignore every known law of physics. Like, you could hit him with a nuke, and he'd probably just T-pose through the explosion like, okay, no joke. He's basically Slender Man's cracked-out cousin who watched too much Looney Tunes and never grew out of it. And yeah, maybe you can try to shoo him away, who knows. But if you hear old-timey music from nowhere, and a wet giggle echoing down a hallway that wasn't there 5 seconds ago, too late. Survival chance, -3%. Bodies get buried, you get animated. The mist. It doesn't roar, it doesn't chase. It just shows up. Imagine waking up one day, looking out your window, and everything's just gone. Silent Hill vibes, like when you walk home from the club after a night out. It wraps around your town like it's claiming property. And inside it, good luck. You don't see the monsters, you hear them. Slithering, clicking, breathing way too close. There's a thud on the roof. Something brushes your leg in the doorway. A scream outside cuts off halfway through, and that's when you realize the fog isn't hiding the creatures, it's feeding them. And the worst part? The mist doesn't chase you. It waits. It surrounds. It whispers stuff like, hey, go outside. It's probably fine. It isn't. There are giant tentacles that will snatch you like a free sample at Costco. Spider things that lay eggs inside you. Flying abominations with stingers the size of steak knives. Even the grocery store isn't safe. Imagine dying next to the frozen peas. The disrespect, but the real horror? It's the people. The longer you're stuck, the more your neighbors start turning into doomsday preachers, sacrifice enthusiasts, or just plain feral. Civilization breaks faster than a cheap IKEA table. You don't survive the mist, you endure it until you crack. Survival chance, 0%. Unless you're the guy who brought a flamethrower to the supermarket. Pyramid Head? Pyramid Head is the one villain I would put on my hear me out cake. But don't be fooled by his sexy looks. This 7-foot muscle-bound executioner isn't here to kill you quickly. He's a walking punishment, dragging around a giant rusty great knife that could cleave a car in half. And that helmet? Not just for looks. It symbolizes the guilt and suffering of his victims. And trust me, you're about to suffer. What does he do? Oh, just the worst things imaginable. He doesn't just slice people up. He flays them, crushes them, and drags them away, kicking and screaming. In Silent Hill 2, he's even been known to get a little too hands-on with other creatures in Silent Hill, proving that nothing is beneath his cruelty. If he catches you, expect to be ripped apart like paper or impaled in the slowest, most agonizing way possible. And let's be real, you're not dodging that great knife. The man swings it like it's a wiffle bat, and even if he misses, the sheer weight of it will send you flying. Thinking about fighting? Adorable. He doesn't feel pain, doesn't get tired, and doesn't stop. You don't escape Pyramid Head. You just die tired. Survival chances? Less than 0. However, rumor has it, your survival chances will increase if you like and subscribe to my channel right now. Don't take the risk, guys, or I'll send you to space with the next villain, the Xenomorph. Maybe you're good at horror movie logic. Stay in groups, don't split up, don't touch anything slimy. Yeah, none of that matters. If a Xenomorph is on board, you're dead. No running, no fighting back, no, maybe if I hide under the bed. You're either a corpse or an incubator. This nightmare fuel from Alien is the reason why deep space is a death trap. First, let's talk about facehuggers. You know those jumpy spiders people freak out over? Now imagine one that launches at your face, latches on like a bad Tinder date, strangles you unconscious, and forcefully shoves an alien parasite down your throat. Congrats! You're now pregnant, and in a few hours, you're about to give birth in the worst way possible. Instead of a baby shower, you get a chest burster. One moment, you're chilling in space. The next, an alien larva explodes out of your ribcage like a chest-bursting gender reveal. Except the only surprise is your instant death. And if you somehow don't get face-hugged, good luck outrunning the fully grown Xenomorph. It's got razor-sharp claws, a murder tail, and a second mouth that punches through skulls like a speed bag. Even if you try to shoot it, its acid blood melts everything, including you. Survival chances? Like 3%. And that's me being generous. You're either a snack or an unwilling egg donor. But hey, at least the Xenomorph only wants to kill you. The next villain on this list, it wants to wear you. The Creeper. Road trips are supposed to be fun. Windows down, music up. But if the Creeper is out there, your road trip playlist just became your funeral song. The Creeper is not your average slasher villain. This thing is ancient, unstoppable, and treats hunting humans like a shopping spree. It wakes up every 23rd spring for 23 days, and during that time, it hunts. But it doesn't just kill, it chooses. Like a twisted personal shopper, it sniffs out the body parts it wants, hunts down the owner, and rips them right off. Eyes, lungs, a whole torso. If it likes yours, you're done. So if you're hot, congrats. You just became premium Creeper merchandise. And you think you can outrun it? Think again. This thing flies faster than your last situationship fell apart. And while you're fumbling with your seatbelt, it's already ripping open your roof and yanking you out like a drive-through snack. I can still hear you saying, I'll just drive away. Of course you do. That's like saying you'll outrun an eagle while riding a tricycle. And the worst part? It doesn't just kill you, it wears you. It steals the body parts it likes, replacing its own with fresh ones. You aren't just its prey, you're its new wardrobe. Survival chances? Maybe 1% if he doesn't like your body parts. But hey, at least the Creeper is picky about what it takes. The next villain? They don't window shop. To them, your entire body is the all-you-can-eat buffet. SCP-096. Have you ever made accidental eye contact with someone at the gym and immediately regretted it? Yeah, now imagine that person lets out an ear-piercing scream, starts sobbing uncontrollably, and then hunts you down at lightning speed to rip you apart. That's SCP-096, aka the Shy Guy, the deadliest introvert you'll never survive. Here's the deal. The second you see its face, even in a tiny, blurry photo, you're done. It doesn't matter if you're in another country, hiding underground, or chilling on the moon. SCP-096 will find you. It runs at impossible speeds, tears through buildings like tissue paper, and shrugs off bullets, missiles, and even anti-tank weapons. And before you say, I just won't look at it, buddy, people have died from spotting it in old mountaineering photos. One dude saw 4 pixels of its face. That was enough. Survival chances? Absolute 0, unless you're blind or daredevil, I guess. Sukuna. You ever meet someone so ridiculously overpowered that even the laws of physics just look at him and say, yeah, I'm not dealing with this? That's Sukuna, the walking you lose screen of Jujutsu Kaisen. 1,000 years ago, sorcerers didn't beat him. He beat himself. Sukuna scattered his 20 fingers around, slapped on an immortality spell, and dipped, knowing he'd be back. Fast forward to today, some high schooler was dumb enough to eat one, and boom, Sukuna is back like a malware pop-up you can't close. His cursed techniques? Broken. Dismantle and Cleave cut through anything like he's speedrunning Fruit Ninja. And Malevolent Shrine erases everything in range without even needing a barrier. Sukuna isn't just powerful, he's cocky. He once turned a top-tier sorcerer into dust mid-sentence, just to prove a point. He fights for fun, not survival. Survival chances? Like 5% if you're smart enough not to eat his fingers. Sukuna wouldn't just kill you. He'd roast you first, then forget you ever existed. The Wendigo. The Wendigo is what happens when hunger levels reach hangry and never stop. According to the legends of Blackwood Mountain, these creatures were once people, until they resorted to cannibalism in the desperate fight to stay alive. But instead of just ruining their social life forever, they unleashed an ancient curse. The moment human flesh touches their lips, they stop being human. Their bodies stretch, their skin tightens, their minds shatter, and from that point on, they exist only to hunt, and they're terrifyingly good at it. The Wendigos in Until Dawn aren't just fast, they're unnatural. You could be hiding, holding your breath, praying it doesn't hear your heartbeat, but it will. And if you think you can outrun it, cute. This thing moves faster than bad decisions at 3 a.m. and can track you like it's got your exact coordinates preloaded into Google Maps. But the real nightmare? If it doesn't kill you, you become one. The Wendigo curse doesn't end. It just waits for the next poor soul to snap. Survival chances? Negative. You're not a person anymore. You're takeout. Clickers. These aren't your slow, dumb, shuffle into a mall and moan zombies. These things are fungal death machines. And once you hear that horrifying, echoing click, click, click sound, it's already too late. Clickers are what happens when tripping on shrooms goes wrong and a brain-eating fungus decides humanity is past its expiration date. The cordyceps infection hijacks your body, melts your brain, and turns your head into a nightmarish fungal explosion that looks like a failed Pinterest craft. By the time you've turned, you're not just dead, you're basically a walking mushroom with homicidal tendencies. And I already hear you, I'll just stay quiet. Bro, that's like saying you'll win hide and seek against a bat with anger issues. Clickers hunt using echolocation, meaning the second you make a sound, they whip towards you like an unhinged librarian on noise patrol. Once they grab you, you're getting ripped apart like a rotisserie chicken. And if they don't kill you, congrats. You just won a lifetime membership to the Clicker Club. Survival chances? 0. You either die screaming or live long enough to click your way into becoming one. But if you click that subscribe button right now, maybe, just maybe, you'll make it out alive. Darkseid. Darkseid doesn't conquer worlds. He deletes them. This isn't some alien warlord trying to prove himself. He is a god. You? You're barely worth acknowledging. Darkseid's favorite hobby is snapping entire civilizations like cheap plastic toys. And he doesn't do it alone. He's got an infinite army of parademons, which will swarm you faster than Black Friday shoppers fighting over the last flat-screen TV. But even if, somehow, you survive the parademons, congrats. Now you get to meet him. His strength makes Superman look like a gym newbie. His durability? You could drop a planet on his head and he'd shrug it off like a mild inconvenience. Then there are the Omega Beams. See those? Just lie down and accept your fate. These laser-guided, heat-seeking instant death beams will chase you around corners, through buildings, across dimensions, and still hit you. And if he actually wants to kill you personally, game over. He could snap you in half, erase your existence, or brainwash you into worshiping him while he turns your home into a burning wasteland. Survival chances? None. You're not just dying, you're getting unmade. Entity 8. If you've ever seen a dog and thought,
what the dog doing?
The answer is melting into a human-shaped, skinless, bone-thin thing and crawling toward you with bones poking through its own face. Entity 8 is one of the nastier residents of the backrooms. Warped hybrids of human and canine, created by something called Egremon syndrome. It's like rabies, but instead of tail wagging, you get spine cracking. Once infected, your bones twist, your limbs go sideways, and your brain rewires itself until you're just another drooling monster that's suddenly very interested in playing fetch and chasing everything that moves. Except the only thing it's fetching is your spine. So, to all the girls who said, Drop on your knees and bark like you want it? I hope you're happy now. These ugly things haunt the darker, rotting levels, the ones even other entities avoid. Their claws are dulled from obsessively tearing at their own faces, and their limbs move like marionettes with broken strings. These things don't hump legs, they break them. They also sprint at the first sound. No tactics, just pure mad dog disease. And yes, they used to be people. Now they howl, snap, and sometimes swing sticks like cavemen on a bad acid trip. Get bitten? You've got 5 minutes to douse it in almond water, or you can start practicing your downward dog. And I already hear you. Just calmly back away. Sure, if by calmly you mean not crying while you reverse into another hound around the corner. Survival chance, 8%. Just stay quiet, barefoot, and unscented. Mr. X. Mr. X is the 7-foot-tall wall of muscle from Resident Evil 2 who treats social distancing like a challenge. At first, you think you're hearing things, but that's not your anxiety. It's Mr. Stompy Boots, 2 rooms away. And it gets worse. He's not just unkillable, he's clingy. It's a never-ending game of hide-and-seek with someone who doesn't understand the rules. And the weirdest part? No matter how far you run, it never feels like you've actually lost him. Mr. Kiss, please, give us some space. You'd expect this bioweapon to sprint and lunge, but no. He doesn't even have the audacity to chase you. He just walks, relentlessly, like he's got dinner plans where you're the date and the entree. You close a door, he opens it. Walls? Optional. You're trying to reload? He's already posing dramatically in your blind spot. Seems like this guy really can't take a hint. But the real scare comes when he finally reaches you. His steel fists can shatter skulls, his durability laughs in the face of bullets, and his patience is infinite. He's also got superhuman regeneration and endurance, shrugging off small arms fire like it's a mosquito bite. If you chop off his lower jaw in the remake, he grunts, but doesn't die. And if you finally manage to damage him enough, he loses his coat and upgrades into the Super Tyrant form. Bigger, faster, with claws the size of machetes. Survival chance? 4%. Stick to shadows, listen for those boots, and save the RPG for when flirting stops working. Kid Boo. What Kid Boo lacks in size, he makes up for in sheer relentless destruction. He looks like if Patrick Star and handsome Squidward had a baby, and then dropped it on its head, repeatedly, which honestly explains a lot. He literally woke up and immediately boomed a planet with no explanation. Then, before the dust even settled, he instant transmissioned across the galaxy, nuking planets because he felt like it. And I kid you not, he even pulled up to heaven just to swing hands with his dead ops, even though they were already dead. If that wasn't enough, he once emoted mid-match. Now that's a certified menace to society. And Boo does all this while looking like chewed-up bubblegum. His body can twist, snap, melt, and pull itself back together faster than you can land a punch. You can vaporize him, and he'll reform like it's nothing. He doesn't just heal, he adapts. Watch a move once and it's his. He doesn't talk much, but when he does, it's usually something like, "Me Boo, kill you," which sounds funny until you realize he means it. Kid Boo isn't just strong, he's unhinged. He doesn't scheme, he doesn't explain. He woke up and chose violence, then stayed violent. And when even Goku starts begging, that's your cue to stop fighting and start praying. Survival chance -5%. Because when the villain pulls up to the afterlife to finish the job, not even being dead saves you. Entity 67. The Partygoers. Sounds fun until you realize the balloons are full of chloroform, and the cake screams when you cut it. Imagine if Chuck E. Cheese joined a cult and started recruiting victims with balloons and fruit punch. You'd be getting close. These inflatable freaks are bright yellow, always grinning, and always dancing. Their home is Level Fun, aka SS Fun, a nightmare amusement park built for one purpose: death by party. Their parties look super fun, the kind of stuff that makes you think, oh, maybe this isn't so bad. Big mistake, because once you're invited, you don't get to leave. And you're not just a guest, you're the entertainment and the dessert. Their idea of a welcome party is hacking Backrooms terminals to send you cheerful invites, complete with fake reviews and totally real survivor testimonials. They don't just throw parties, they control the PR. According to them, they're harmless fun lovers. According to reality, cannibal banana floaties with a marketing budget. Up close, they transform unsuspecting wanderers into more partygoers. They turn you into one of them, still human-looking, but joyfully murderous inside. Their packs operate like this. One distracts you with fake fun, another slaps their arm teeth around your neck, and a third carves you into party snacks. They also claim victory in something called the Fun War and promise endless joy forever. Their crimes include mass murder, cannibalism, and terrorism. However, there are no crimes when you're having fun, they insist. Survival chance? 100%. Just join the party, guys. It's super fun, and you totally have nothing to worry about. You can join by subscribing to my channel. Don't miss this chance. Dio. Dio is one of the main villains of JoJo's Bizarre Adventure, where people beat each other up in slow motion and high fashion. Born in 1800s, London to an abusive drunk, Dio climbed the social ladder by poisoning his dad and charming his way into the wealthy Joestar family. Then, he tortured their son, burned the family dog alive, and did all this before his 20s. Must have been puberty hitting like a truck. Eventually, he found a stone mask that turned him into a vampire. Immortality? Check. Super strength? Check. Zero empathy? Already had it. He once killed a cat and fed its head to a guy for laughs. And if you're wondering why people still lose to this goofy, silly dude, he's fast, immortal, and extremely dramatic. He yells, "It was me, Dio," before sucker punching your legacy and drinking your grandpa. If that isn't enough, he awakens a stand called the World, which lets him stop time. While you're frozen, he strolls up, adjusts his collar, and caves in your skull. Some stands can weaken him, but only if you get the chance to fight back, which you won't. He's not only unbeatable because he's strong, but he's also smart and patient. And he's versatile. His squad includes a gorilla, a baby, a grapist, 3 women, and even a Frenchman. Truly diverse evil. And his biggest crime? Being too sexy? His actual biggest crime? Turning a mother into a zombie so she'd eat her baby. Not out of necessity, just to see it happen. Survival chance? 2%. Because Zawarudo isn't a catchphrase. It's your funeral music. The Dredge. The Dredge is the darkest terror, lurking in Dead by Daylight, born from the twisted fear of a cult called the Fold. The Fold tried to build a utopia on positive thinking. But when paranoia and death took over, their collective panic gave birth to the Dredge. It's literally fear, shaped by blood, powered by the mysterious auric cells that fuel the entity's realm. This fear manifests as a mess of rotting body parts and doll arms, wearing loose shadow instead of clothes. No face, just a pulsing shadow, with pieces of meat stuck to it like a hairy lollipop. You might think it looks like a corpse turkey, or worse, a grotesque nutsack, if you weren't too busy running for your life. But this running isn't going to get you anywhere. The Dredge doesn't chase. It surfaces. Lockers slam, lights flicker. You feel its presence before you even see it. In daylight, it's already creepy. But at nightfall, the Dredge hides in lockers, while plunging everything into pitch blackness. Honestly, I would welcome the dark if it meant not having to look at that ugly thing. Lights go out, you can't see a thing, and it teleports from locker to locker, hunting you by the sound of your panic. It's like hide and seek, except if you lose, you disappear. No blood, no scream, just gone. The only thing that slows it down is light, but try holding a shaky flashlight steady when your fight or flight just hits wet yourself. Survival chance, 5%. Don't huddle in lockers. And please, think good thoughts, if you can. Jaws. Jaws is a 7-foot-tall mercenary, with the bite force of a hydraulic press and the survival instincts of a Looney Tunes character. He appears in 2 classic James Bond films, where he's less a hired assassin and more a walking demolition crew in a suit. He's best known for his steel teeth, custom-fitted grills capable of biting through chains, locks, and human necks. He's basically the OG grills influencer, except instead of rapping, he rips open elevators with his face. And while that is already goofy, it's paired with near-superhuman strength, resilience, and a talent for brushing off anything that should reasonably kill a man. He survives a plane's mid-air explosion, walks away from a collapsing cable car, and even bites a shark's neck clean off. And while he's nearly indestructible, this dude isn't just dumb muscle. He's sharp, calculating, and relentless. Hunting Bond through Egyptian pyramids, speeding trains, and even outer space. He traps targets, adapts mid-fight, and will bite and strangle you in the tightest space before you even register what's happening. If he corners you, those jaws and that death grip will put you down fast. His body deflects bullets, his hands crush bones, and he doesn't stop unless something stronger puts him down. And so far, nothing has. Survival chance? 15%. Maybe higher if you've got a fridge magnet strong enough to rip out dental implants. Carnage. Another freaky villain for the ladies, huh? So, ever wonder what happens when a psychopath bonds with an alien parasite? You get pure, unfiltered chaos, wearing a red suit. This guy started off as Cletus Kasady, a serial killer with no remorse, no guilt, and no limits. But then he bonded with an alien creature, a symbiote, and became something much worse. Garbage. Carnage. The symbiote that made Venom had a child, and that child bonded with Kasady. But unlike Venom, who sometimes tries to do the right thing, Carnage only wants chaos, pain, and death. He's extremely fast, strong, and almost impossible to kill. He can also heal himself quickly, crawl on walls, and turn his blood into weapons. Sharp blades, long tentacles, or even webs. If that wasn't enough, his freaky ass doesn't need to breathe and can even survive in places like outer space. But what makes him truly terrifying is the madness feeding his might. The more carnage he causes, the stronger he gets. He once contaminated a whole Colorado town's water supply with symbiote spores, transforming residents into screaming, red-eyed monsters. And before the mayhem, he ate a whole slaughterhouse full of cows, probably to stock up. Definitely not vegan. Thinking of fighting him? Good luck. Carnage survives anything. He's been dropped from planes, exploded, even yeeted into the stars, and he still treats it all like a mild inconvenience. Survival chance? 1%. Unless you have sonic weapons, fire, and a miracle, you're probably not getting out alive. And that concludes the list, folks. If any of these creeps show up, just remember, it's not about winning, it's about dying with dignity.